In the spring of 1947, a cattleman named Vernon Hobbs lost 11 calves in 2 weeks to tick fever outside Dimmitt, Texas. The barn hit 103 degrees, bloated bellies everywhere, and the whole place smelled like kerosene and sulfur because that's what Vernon was using. Dusty yellow powder along the pasture edges, a bucket of kerosene mixed with soap for dipping, and a flock of guineas running the yard. 6 weeks later, 400 acres were clear. No warning labels, no hazmat suit, no phone call to a chemical company. If your grandfather could do that, and you can't clear your own backyard today without a $40 aerosol can and a skull and crossbones sticker, this one's for you, neighbor. Most Americans today couldn't protect a dog pen from ticks if you handed them the same 3 ingredients Vernon used. But here's the twist. The USDA and every land-grant university in tick country documented sulfur-based control methods all the way through the 1960s. Then it vanished from extension bulletins. The same decade, lawn chemical patents exploded. What Vernon knew has a name. It's called the Cowboy Ranch Method. It's 6 pieces: livestock rotation, sulfur broadcast, diatomaceous earth in structures, guinea patrol, neem oil barriers, and the one timing trick that makes all of it free after year 1. By the time we're done, you'll know every piece. The exact measurements my father Eli wrote in his journal, and the patent that replaced it in 1972, so a company could sell you the same result in an aerosol can for $18 a week, and the one they worked hardest to make you forget. Before we start counting, 2 things. Number 6 on this list, a 1953 cooperative extension bulletin called it the backbone of pasture sanitation. By 1978, the same agency warned homeowners not to apply it without protective equipment. The chemical didn't change, friend. The customer did. Number 2, guinea fowl. In 1940, over 60% of working ranches in tick country kept a flock. Today, most feed stores don't even stock Keats. Not because guineas quit working, because nobody profits when you hatch your own. None of these faded because they quit working. Somebody got rich the day you forgot. That's not on you, friend. They're good at selling. Before we go on, there's something coming for this country, and the news won't say a word about it till it's already on your doorstep. It comes down to one number: 3 days. That's what the stores hold for you. My great-grandfather broke this land in the 1880s with a few horses and a rough cabin. What he knew about keeping livestock alive without a vet or a chemical company, that knowing kept this ranch running through droughts, crashes, and every hard winter since. I'm Amos Miller. Before my father died, he made me swear the knowing wouldn't die with me. So I set it down. Ranch methods, livestock care, pest control, the way it was done for 100 years. You'll find it at amosmillershop.com. Links below. All right, back to it. Number 6, sulfur dust, agricultural grade garden sulfur. This is finely milled elemental sulfur, the same compound they used in fungicides and old livestock dips. You'll find it in 5 to 50 pound bags at any farm supply, $12 to $40 depending on the bag. Here's how it works. Sulfur disrupts tick respiratory systems on contact. It creates a hostile environment for larvae in the soil. One application persists 4 to 8 weeks, depending on rain. That's not guesswork, that's chemistry. The USDA published Farmer's Bulletin number 1625 in 1930. It recommended sulfur broadcast for pasture tick suppression. Land-grant extension services taught it into the 1960s, then it vanished. Why? No patent, No repeat sales model. Bayer and Ortho launched synthetic pyrethroids in the 70s with 7 to 14-day reapplication cycles and higher margins. You buy it again next week and the week after. Sulfur just sits there for 2 months doing the job. In 2018, Texas A&M AgriLife ran a study. Sulfur dust reduced tick populations 70 to 85% in treated zones. Zero mammalian toxicity when applied per label. Let's talk cost. $25 of sulfur treats 1 acre for 6 weeks. An $18 can of permethrin aerosol treats 500 square feet for 10 days. That's a 96 times cost difference per square foot per month. I'll say it again, 96 times. Here's how you apply it. Broadcast 10 pounds per acre along fence lines, pasture edges, and shaded zones in early spring and again after first frost. It's safe for cattle, horses, dogs, chickens once it's dry. Don't inhale the dust during application. Wear a mask, same as you would with flour or any fine powder. This week, grab 1 25-pound bag of garden sulfur from your co-op. Mark your fence line. Broadcast it on a dry morning. Write the date. That's your baseline. Number 5. Diatomaceous earth, food grade, DE. This is fossilized algae skeletons. Under a microscope, they look like tiny broken glass. Those sharp edges puncture insect exoskeletons and cause dehydration. Mechanical kill, not chemical. It works best in barns, stalls, dog kennels, chicken coop bedding, anywhere ticks hide in structure or bedding. Less effective outdoors in wet climates because rain washes it away. But indoors, it's a different story. Ranchers dusted DE in bedding straw and feed storage bins. From the 1920s onward, it controlled mites, fleas, ticks, grain beetles. One product, multiple pests. Why did it fade? Same story. No patent, no reapplication dependency. Pest control companies pushed liquid sprays with service contracts in the 80s and 90s. You signed a contract. They came back every month. DE just sat there in the bedding doing the work. University of Florida, IFAS, published findings in 2020. Multiple veterinary studies back it up. DE kills ticks, fleas, and mites on contact when dry. Zero toxicity to mammals or birds when it's food grade. $18 to $35 for 10 pounds. That treats about 400 square feet of bedding or barn floor. It lasts until it gets wet, then you reapply. 1 bag can last you a season in a dry barn. Here's how you use it. Dust lightly in cracks, bedding, and along barn walls. Don't create clouds. Wear a mask during application. Same reason as sulfur. Once it settles, it's safe for pets and livestock. The failure mode is simple. It does not work on wet surfaces or in rain. It must stay dry to keep those cutting edges active. This week, get 1 10-pound bag of food-grade DE. Dust your dog's bedding, your barn floor, and the base of your fence posts. Mark it. Watch what doesn't come back. Number 4. Guinea fowl. Biological tick patrol. These are African ground birds, tick-eating machines. 1 guinea eats 100 to 300 ticks per day. They patrol 2 to 3 acres. They have a loud alarm call that warns you of predators, coyotes, hawks, anything that moves wrong. In 1940, over 60% of southern and southwestern ranches in tick-heavy zones kept guinea flocks. The USDA Yearbook of Agriculture in 1942 listed them as front-line tick control for pasture systems. Here's how they work. Guineas forage constantly. They prefer ticks and grasshoppers over grain. They cover ground chickens won't. They don't scratch up gardens the way chickens do. So why did they fade? No profit margin for chemical companies. Hatcheries stopped marketing them as pest control when pyrethroid sprays became standard in the 70s and 80s. Most feed stores quit stocking Keats, not because guineas quit working, because you hatch your own and nobody makes money after that first sale. Multiple land-grant extension studies, LSU Ag Center, University of Georgia Extension, Texas A&M, all confirm guineas reduce tick populations 60 to 80% on ranches that keep flocks of 6 or more birds per 5 acres. Let's talk cost. $4 to $8 per keet. Mature birds run $15 to $25. 6 birds cost you $24 to $50 to start. They reproduce naturally if you keep a breeding trio. 0 ongoing cost, except supplemental grain in winter. Here's your setup. Brood Keats like chicks for 4 to 6 weeks. Release them to free range after you train them to the coop. They roost high at night. You need predator-proof shelter. Keep 1 male per 4 to 5 females. The trade-off is real. They're loud, not friendly. They will alarm call at 5 in the morning if a leaf moves. Your neighbors might complain. This is best for rural properties, not subdivision lots. This week, call your local hatchery or check McMurray Hatchery online. Order 6 Keats for spring delivery. Mark your calendar. That's your flock. Start date. Number 3. Neem oil concentrate, livestock, and barrier spray. This is cold-pressed oil from neem tree seeds, Azadirachta indica. It contains a compound called azadirachtin, natural insect growth, disruptor, and repellent. Indian and African livestock keepers used neem leaf paste and oil on cattle and goats for centuries. It came to U.S. organic agriculture in the 1980s. Small ranchers used it for fly and tick control before synthetic pyrethroids got cheap. Here's the mechanism. Azadirachtin interferes with tick molting and reproduction. It repels adults. You dilute it, 2 to 4 tablespoons per gallon of water, and spray it on fence lines, pasture entry points, livestock legs, and bellies. It creates a barrier zone. Why is it not mainstream? Slower knockdown than synthetic chemicals. It repels rather than kills instantly. It requires reapplication every 7 to 10 days in heavy rain, and it smells earthy, not chemical fresh. That last one matters to people who think pest control should smell like a hospital. The Journal of Medical Entomology published a study in 2011. Multiple USDA studies back it. Neem oil reduces tick attachment rates 40 to 60% when applied as a barrier spray. Safe for mammals, dogs, horses, cattle. A 16-ounce bottle of concentrate runs $12 to $20. Makes 8 to 16 gallons of spray, depending on dilution strength. Compare that to pre-mixed cedar or pyrethroid sprays at $18 to $30 per quart. Here's your application. Mix 2 tablespoons neem concentrate per gallon of water in a pump sprayer. Spray fence lines, pasture gates, barn entry zones, and the legs and bellies of livestock or working dogs every 7 to 10 days during tick season, typically April through October, depending on your latitude. Reapply after heavy rain. Neem also repels flies, mosquitoes, and fleas as a side benefit. This week, order 1 16-ounce bottle of cold-pressed neem oil concentrate. Mix your first gallon. Spray your fence line and barn door. Write the date. That's your barrier start. Number 2, livestock rotation and habitat management. This one costs nothing except time, and it's the backbone of every method on this list. Ticks can't fly. They crawl up tall grass and brush, wait on the tip of a blade, and grab onto whatever walks by. a process called questing. If you keep your pasture grazed short and rotate livestock through paddocks, you break the tick life cycle. No tall grass, no questing platform, no questing platform, no attachment, no reproduction. My great-grandfather ran cattle on this ranch with nothing but barbed wire and a calendar. He moved stock every 10 to 14 days. That kept the grass under 6 inches in the growing season. Ticks need 8 to 12 inches of cover to quest effectively. Under 6 inches, they desiccate in the sun or get eaten by ground beetles and ants. This method worked for 80 years before anyone sold a spray can. The University of Rhode Island Tick Encounter Resource Center published guidance in 2017. They confirmed that mowing or grazing below 6 inches reduces tick habitat by over 70%. Texas A&M and Oklahoma State Extension Services recommend rotational grazing as the first line of tick control before any chemical or biological intervention. It's free, it improves pasture health, it reduces parasite load across the board: worms, flies, ticks. Here's your setup. Divide your pasture into 3 to 5 paddocks with temporary or permanent fence. Rotate livestock every 10 to 14 days. Mow or graze each paddock down to 4 to 6 inches. Before moving stock in, let it rest and regrow for 3 to 4 weeks before the next rotation. The shorter rest period in tick season keeps the grass low. Longer rest in winter builds root reserves. If you don't run livestock, mow high traffic zones, dog runs, fence lines, wood edges every 2 weeks during tick season. Pattern break, friend. Notice something. Every method we've covered so far, sulfur, DE, guineas, neem, rotation, none of them require a warning label. None of them poison your dog if he licks his paw. None of them build up in the water table. And every one of them was standard practice on working ranches until about 1970. Then the chemical companies arrived with better marketing and worse chemistry. The methods didn't quit working. You just quit hearing about them. Now, let's talk about what you're being sold instead and why you need to be careful. Permethrin-based commercial tick sprays, brands like Spectracide, Ortho Bug Clear, Enforcer, these work. I won't lie to you, they knock down ticks fast. Permethrin is a synthetic pyrethroid. It attacks the nervous system of insects and arachnids. Spray it on your yard. Ticks die within hours. But here's what the label won't say in plain English. Permethrin is extremely toxic to cats. If your cat walks across a treated lawn before it dries or rubs against your dog after you spray him, that cat can seize and die. It's toxic to fish and aquatic insects. If runoff reaches a pond or creek, it kills everything with gills. It's toxic to bees, and you're supposed to reapply every 7 to 14 days, which means every 2 weeks you're dosing your property with a neurotoxin. 1 quart runs $18 to $25. If you're treating half an acre, you'll spend $200 to $300 a season. Every season. I'm not saying don't use it. I'm saying know what you're using. If you have cats, don't. If you have a pond, don't. If you have kids playing in the yard 10 minutes after you spray, read the re-entry time on the label and follow it. And ask yourself if there's a reason your grandfather didn't need it. Same caution applies to amitraz-based tick collars. Brands like Preventic, effective on dogs, they kill and repel ticks for months. But amitraz is toxic to cats. If your cat grooms a dog wearing that collar, the cat can get poisoned, kids can touch the residue, and you're paying $20 to $35 per collar, replaced every 3 to 4 months. That's $100 a year per dog, forever. Compare that to a $50 bag of sulfur that treats your whole property for a season, or a flock of guineas that reproduces itself. Cedar oil sprays fall in the middle. They work as a repellent. They're safe. They smell pleasant, but they're expensive and short-lived. A quart of cedar spray runs $15 to $25 and lasts maybe 7 days before you reapply. Compare that to sulfur, or DE, which persist for weeks. Cedar has its place. If you need a quick, safe knockdown for a patio or dog before a walk, fine. But it's not a system. It's a Band-Aid. Here's the piece that makes it all work. Timing. Ticks have a life cycle. Larvae hatch in late spring. They quest in early summer. They molt into nymphs by midsummer. Nymphs quest in late summer and fall. Adults quest in fall and early spring before temperatures drop. If you hit them in the larval stage, late April to early May in most of the country, you kill the current generation before they reproduce. That's your leverage point. My father, Eli, kept a calendar on the barn wall. Every year, same routine. First week of April, broadcast sulfur. Second week of April, dust DE in the barn and coops. Third week, spray neem on fence lines and livestock. By May, the guineas were out, patrolling full time. He didn't chase ticks all season. He hit them once, hard, at the beginning, and maintained light pressure through summer. By September, tick counts were near zero. The USDA Farmers Bulletin from 1930 recommended the same timing. Early spring application of sulfur dust before larvae emerge, then rotational grazing to suppress regrowth. Oklahoma State Extension published a tick life cycle guide in 2015 that confirms the same window. You don't need 12 applications. You need one heavy application at the right time, then maintenance every 4 to 6 weeks, depending on rain. Here's your calendar. First week of April, or 2 weeks after last frost in your zone. Broadcast sulfur along fence lines, wood edges, and pasture entry zones. 10 pounds per acre. Second week, dust food grade, DE, in barns, dog kennels, coop bedding, and under porches. Third week, mix and spray neem oil on fence lines, gates, and livestock legs. If you're running guineas, make sure they're ranging by mid-April. Repeat sulfur and neem every 6 weeks through October. Repeat DE when it gets wet. Mow or rotate livestock every 2 weeks to keep grass under 6 inches. That's the system. Sulfur kills on contact and persists. DE kills in structures. Guineas patrol and eat constantly. Neem repels and disrupts reproduction. Rotation removes habitat. None of it requires a PhD. None of it poisons your dog. All of it worked for 80 years before a chemical company convinced you it didn't. Now here's the part that makes it free after year 1. Guineas reproduce. If you keep a breeding trio, 1 male, 2 females, they'll hatch a clutch every spring. You started with 6 birds. By year 2, you have 12. By year 3, you have 20, or you're selling Keats to your neighbor. Sulfur doesn't expire. A 50-pound bag stored dry lasts 5 years. D lasts indefinitely if kept dry. Neem concentrate lasts 2 years in a cool, dark cabinet. Your only repeat cost is neem if you use it heavily, and that's $12 a year. Compare that to permethrin, $200 a season, forever. Tick collars, $100 per dog per year, forever. Cedar sprays, $200 plus a season, forever. The cowboy method front loads the work in year 1. After that, it's maintenance and multiplication. Your inputs reproduce or persist. The chemical model requires you to buy the same thing every week, forever. That's not agriculture, friend. That's subscription revenue. One more thing, the method scales. If you've got a quarter-acre dog yard, 1 10-pound bag of sulfur, 1 bag of DE, and a quart of neem will carry you a full season for under $50. If you're running 50 acres of pasture, you're looking at $200 in sulfur, 50 in DE, 50 in neem, and 6 keats at $30. Total input cost $330. After that, the guineas hatch themselves, and the sulfur sits in the barn. Compare that to commercial treatment of 50 acres. You're looking at thousands of dollars a year in spray applications or professional service. Here's what I want you to do this week. Pick one piece. If you've got livestock, start with rotation. Mark your paddocks and move stock this Sunday. If you've got a dog yard, grab sulfur and broadcast it Saturday morning. If you've got a barn, get DE and dust it Monday. Don't try to do all 6 pieces in one weekend. Build the system one layer at a time. Write the date every time you apply something. That's your log. 12 months from now, you'll have a full record of what worked, what didn't, and what the TICKS did in response. My father told me something the year before he died. He said the difference between a rancher and a customer is simple. A rancher builds a system that works without him. A customer buys a product that quits working the day he stops paying. Sulfur, DE, guineas, neem, rotation. None of these need you after you set them up. They work because that's what they do. A spray can needs you next week, and the week after, and the week after that. Forever. Vernon Hobbs cleared 400 acres in 1947 with sulfur and guineas. You can clear your backyard this spring the same way. The chemistry didn't change. The TICKS didn't change. What changed was somebody convinced you the old way didn't work, so they could sell you a new way that never stops billing. That ends today, neighbor. You've got the 6 pieces, you've got the timing, you've got the costs. Now go build it.